Yeah, I just want to make a quick little video here about a double live album I'm releasing really soon of a band called Art for Hunting. So it's a fusion band that myself and then 3 other people were in, and it goes back about 12 years ago, so it's quite a while ago. And I'll just tell you kind of the quick little story of a little bit about the band and why I'm releasing it now. So yeah, the band started about 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, I guess if I do the math. Maybe for, wow, yeah, probably 13 years ago. We were doing some gigs about 12 years ago. So, and if you scroll way down my YouTube channel, like to the bottom, you'll see some videos. So the band consisted of guitar, bass, drums, and then bassoon. Maybe more specifically, you could say electric bassoon. So Trent Jacobs, the bassoonist, had a microphone on his bassoon, and he had a really cool pedal board. In fact, quick little story there. First time I ever rehearsed with the guys, or I think we just kind of got together to see if we gelled. I was coming down the stairs into the basement of this house, and I saw Trent's pedal board. Again, keep in mind, he's a bassoonist, and his is bigger than mine, and I was like, whoa. I was like, that's not right. So anyway, I think before I get too far, I'm going to talk about, there's quite a sad aspect to this whole to the story, and so maybe some of you who know me know this already, or maybe I'm not sure. But Trent passed away from cancer summer of last year. Long battle with cancer, and I had to think about how many years, but I think it was at least 5 or 6 years, which with communicating with him, he did live longer than he thought he would. So, and I think he was only in his late 30s when he passed away, so it's super tragic. He told me once that it was esophageal cancer. He told me once that if that it was like those kind of cancers are only about 1%, and then his age group at the time, let's say early 30s, was 1% of that, so extremely rare. So it's, you know, as you can imagine, that's a tragic loss as a friend and band member from years ago. But you know how it is when if you've played in bands, you develop such a strong bond with people, sometimes in a very short amount of time. You know, you click and just you're on the same page, and you just have this excitement and kind of way to relate to each other and understand each other that's totally different if you haven't done that. So so the band, and maybe I should have started out with this, but it was a fusion band. So again, guitar, bass, drums, and then bassoon. So like if I'm playing chords, you know, then Trent's playing bassoon over it. And again, with the pedals, the effects, he had distortion on his bassoon. We had this one thing I wrote that was like a diminished scale, really fast. I remember I came down and I showed him this really fast lick, and then it diminished. And then I said, I want you to play that a third higher. And he's like, what? He said he had to figure out the fingering, and his thumb had to move here and do this. And when he kicked on distortion on his bassoon, and he would do like layered harmonies and loop stuff. And yeah, it was tons of fun. And yeah, maybe I'll do a whole dedicated video more about Art for Hunting at some point, although this might suffice. But yeah, the quick story is, so we got together, wrote about 2 albums worth of music over, I don't know, I can't think exactly, before we played our first gig, but actually quite a bit of that was by our first gig, because the recording I'm going to release, kind of jumping around here, the recording I'm going to release is live at the Black Dog. It was a cool the Black Dog Cafe, kind of coffee shop in the daytime, and at night, you know, there's you could order wine and stuff, so they'd have, you know, I'd say most of the music was probably jazz and just eclectic kind of music. It was an amazing place, one of my favorite places ever. Fortunately, they closed just a couple years ago. But we recorded 2 sets of music, and it's a funny thing, because that was our first gig. This recording here is our first gig ever, and the recording just got lost on some, computer hard drive, wherever. And then I found it, I don't know when I found it exactly, maybe I'm gonna guess 9 months ago or something like that. I guess I'd heard it maybe in the last few years or so too, but when I really sat down and listened to it, and I was like, wow, we sound good. It's like those things, like my friend Daryl said the other day, humble brag. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because, first of all, it's like, yeah, it's cool. Like, it was our first gig, and I do think we sounded really good. There's some magic there, and the audience was great, the vibe was great, so it's super cool. But also because, and I can only speak for myself, not the other guys, the people in the band, but we, got together, wrote all these songs, played some gigs, and then one of the members was really busy in another band. They were touring like East Coast, West Coast, and so the band kind of broke up or became defunct for a while. And then we tried to get it going again, I think a couple times. We even tried, hiring a different musician to fill that role, and it just didn't work. And but I think, and this is the part where I'm only speaking for myself, but I think, and I guess I've spoken to one of the other people in the band too. I think we thought we were good and we had something, but maybe it's one of those things in hindsight you realize how special, I'll use the word special instead of good, that's a better word, how special we thought it was. Like when I revisited the recording, I was like, wow, there's just something, I think we were, actually really unique sounding, and which is something I've always strived for almost since day one. And it's hard to be original in, all the music that's put out amongst the world, So I was like, wow, and so another thing I could tie into that is it's kind of too bad, because I think if I or somebody else had really recognized, like brought to the attention of the other band members, like, wow, this is fantastic music that we all enjoy playing, Again, not everybody's gonna like it. In fact, it's pretty weird stuff at times, so if not a large portion of the time. So yeah, I get it. If that's never concerned me that much. Yeah, otherwise, I would make completely different life choices if I did what I thought I should do. That people, how would you even voice that? Yeah, you get the idea. If I made musical decisions based on what I thought was good or cool, so other people would like it. I don't know. See, I don't even think that way so much. My brain kind of gets confused. But yeah, we enjoyed it so much. It was so fun, so unique and special and invigorating and all those good things that I really, in hindsight, it's too bad we didn't try to get the band going more and write more, record more, play more. So I was going to try and make this a 5-minute video, but I guess that's the way it is. I think all this backstory kind of stuff tying in is important though. So when I revisited the recording, I was like, well, you know what? At the very least, I should just put this out, because it was such an important time musically. It's really one of the most significant creative things I've done. I would say besides my solo album and then writing my books, and maybe one other project I can get to talk about some other time. Yeah, it was just like, because we just did whatever we wanted. It was like there's no rules. It was, when you hear it, you'll see. We also called ourselves fake jazz. I think Nils Klein mentioned that phrase once. So yeah, it was kind of a combination of jazz and rock and funk and weird sounds and all sorts of things. And so yeah, I think at the very least it'd be nice to have it out. And then this is also, it really does tie into the very unfortunate passing of Trent. That I just think people should hear his playing and his writing. So I just wanted to get this music out there. I do have it all mastered, which is cool. Oh, I should also interrupt myself. So the recording it's lo-fi. It's not a super high, production value kind of thing. Somebody recorded it. I don't know who did it. I have no idea who recorded it. If when this comes out, if if it was you, let me know. So somebody thankfully recorded the whole thing. I can't remember if somebody brought in something. And I did ask this to Trent a few months or so before he passed away. I remember an email, and he didn't reply, and I didn't want to ask him the same thing twice, of course, in what he was going through. So I don't know if he brought some recording gear. I remember he had some recording gear, so it's kind of a mystery. So I don't know how we recorded it, but despite the fact that it's lo-fi, I think it still sounds really good. I mean, there's only so much you could do with mastering, because he was mastering MP3s. He was not mastering like I didn't have access to the original tracks, So it's just a live recording, but part of me kind of likes that too. It's weird. Like I was going through some photos today that I was putting on my website, and a lot of them are very what was the word I came up with? Yeah, not dignified looking, like very, whatever mannerism that I'm making in some rock and roll crazy pose, and the quality of the photo itself and the lighting and the background, beer signs on the wall. It's like nothing somebody would curate to put on Instagram these days. But I don't know, I kind of like that. It's just real. It's just real life. And I think the more that we're living this digital age, we have less and less of that. So not an excuse, but I think this recording, there's something about having it just be, that's what it is. Somebody just recorded. I don't have any access to tweak the tracks. And then you're going to hear pretty much what it sounded like there, so I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, I just want to mention it. And I think what I'll do, it'll be kind of fun, is I think today after I upload this, or tomorrow, something, I'll just upload one track just as a little preview so you can hear it. And I just got to do I'm going to make it actually a physical CD too, just for fun. I have a few people that already are interested, which is cool. So it'll be like a double live CD. You'll open up the CD thing, you'll have two CDs. So I just got to put together all the info and packaging stuff. The cover's done, and then just get it sent off, and then duplicated. And then I'll probably just throw it all up here on my YouTube channel too. I mean, I'm not really trying to make money from it or anything. It's just I just want to get the music out. So that's the quick story. I'm trying to think of anything other interesting tidbits. So as far as the writing, this is kind of cool, I think. So we wrote collectively sometimes, and sometimes individually. So there'd be songs where maybe I would write something and bring it to the band, and it was mostly built around what I had written. And then there was times when it was, the bass player brought something in, it was mostly his song and built it around him. And then same thing with Trent. And it was cool because you'll hear, if you heard all the songs, the variety, you could definitely hear more of the rock influence from me for the most part, although I guess I did do some kind of other stuff. But yeah, and then Trent had a lot of, Trent had a PhD in classical bassoon, so he's, like a amazing trained musician. Oh, I should also say what's cool. So this is, again, could have started out with this, I suppose, but since it was, fusion, which is a form of jazz, and again, we weren't really jazz, we were definitely fusion, but improvised music, it's like, if you know how jazz works, you have the head, and then you jam for a while, and then you do the head, and it was, not always that format, but often something in that range. And so, we all improvised, we all took solos. And so, it was amazing. So Trent's like, playing bassoon, running through cool effects, and he's playing over chord changes, at times, which is, to me, remarkable. There's probably not too many people on the planet that do that. And that's another thing too. Yeah, he was, as were all the people in the band, but he was a big inspiration to me. That's something that's great when you have when you have a band where you play with people that you feel like you're on the same level, for the most part, as far as obviously interest-wise and what you're excited about and stuff. But like you're talent-wise, you're somewhere in the vicinity, so, rather than somebody who's, like let's say you're a beginner and an advanced person playing together, it doesn't probably work so much usually. So you're kind of on the same page, but you all have your strengths. I was going to say and weaknesses, I suppose. we all do. But you have your strengths and maybe of differing things. So there's things that Trent would play and write, also I should say, that I wouldn't think of or do. And so I was always inspired by all the people in the band. It was like a you know, blessing and a treat to just to go to rehearsal and to learn from these musicians that I was playing with. Maybe to kind of A/B that against like previous rock bands I was in the past. Although I might have had a blast playing with the people, it wasn't so much a learning experience, you know. It was like, you know, make kind of a joke here, but it's the truth. You learn like an AC/DC song or whatever, and you go out and play it. It's like, well, I'm not like, you know, stretching myself too much here musically. You know, maybe I can try to learn something about how Angus Young played something, you know, which is great at the right time and stuff. But I think you get the idea. Yeah, it's like when you're in an original band and you're especially improvising and writing, and you're all creative entities, all four of you, and have different backgrounds. That's a super inspiring thing. So, yeah, so that's maybe why this video is going to end up being longer, because these things are all super important and kind of go together. You know, and if you're a musician and you've already done that, then you already kind of know how that works. But if you're maybe somebody that hasn't, that's something to think about, you know, to be able to play with people that, again, you feel comfortable playing with. They're not, you know, 10 light years out of your league, but they also do things of differing, you know, you get the idea. So anyway, yeah, so I think it'll be just, I'm gonna guess the next 2 or 3 months I'll get it out. If you're interested in buying a CD, I'm just gonna sell it really cheap, probably, you know, $5 or whatever for a double album because it's lo-fi. So more just a fun keepsake, you know, that kind of thing, if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah, so I'll just do 100 CDs. And then, yeah, I'll just throw up on probably just my YouTube channel. Maybe I'd go the route of putting it up on Apple and Spotify someday, but I don't know. It'd be different, although I'm super happy to get it out, and I'm totally fine with the production. Yeah, putting it out any more formally than that, I don't know if I would put it up on iTunes and stuff. So that's the story. Yeah, I hope you check it out. And again, hopefully in the next day or two, I'll just at least release one track here. It's a little sample so you can check it out. So, all right, thanks so much.